Thank you very much, Henry. Excellencies, Henry and Mabel, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me start by commending you and congratulating you for this marvelous piece of, it's actually a bit of a literary read as well. Not only is it highly informative from the different member states, but I was just browsing through some of the thoughts that have been put in by several of the ambassadors here. It's a wonderful accumulation of great thoughts of ambassadors that are present here in Beijing. And I think it's very pertinent that this book is coming out at a time like this, when the world is actually witnessing a set of interlocking crises. Never before, right up to the Second World War, have we ever seen something as deadly and dangerous that we are seeing today. An interlocking crisis where we've seen a health pandemic, where the fragility of the entire human race was put at full display, that a microscopic virus could upend economies and backslide our economies that rivaled the Great Depression of the 1930s. We are seeing a climate crisis, which is proving to be an existentialist threat, a threat which is so deadly, so dangerous, that it is upending societies, upending economies, and worse, the climate impact is having a direct impact on public health and food security. And then we are seeing a rise of conflicts. As the clock ticks, we are at about 70 global conflicts, 70 global conflicts. It just so happens that the conflict in Ukraine and the conflict in the Middle East has suddenly brought the kaleidoscope of conflicts back into our focus. But the fact of the matter is conflicts have been ongoing, and there has to be steps taken to kind of bring this to an end. And then besides these interlocking crises, we are seeing rise of great inequalities, increasing food insecurity, including financial stress, increasing financial stress. So it is a polycrisis of exponential proportion. And on top of that, we are seeing we've reached a grim milestone of approximately 120 million people displaced from their from their homes because of climate change, because of conflicts, because of instability globally. This is the largest displacement ever since the Second World War. So which brings back a very important question. What is happening to the space of multilateralism? And where do we go from here? We are, perhaps, as the UN Secretary General is talking about rescuing the Sustainable Development Goals in order to that's the one agreement where the world has agreed to in order to get the world forward and at least give humanity some hope, some belief that there is hope in the horizon. But given the fact that today we are seeing a fracture of multilateralism, we are seeing a complete breakdown of the Committee of Nations that we expect to move forward with, this is where we need a resolute purpose, not just of the permanent 5 members, but of a member state that I serve in China, to see how do we further bolster the very foundations of multilateralism, which needs to be resurrected without a doubt. The multilateralism, the way the UN system operated of post-1945 has to change. That time of change is here, and that is why my Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, has launched the boldest reforms of the UN, not just of the development system, but the peace and security side and all of it. But he's facing incredible headwinds in trying to do that, incredible headwinds. Vested interests continue to dominate this. And unless the UN is able to shift gears, which is what he's trying to propel the UN into, making it a more dynamic institution of multilateralism, it is destined to become a dinosaur. And which is where the role of the member states, and therefore these reflections that I see in this book today are a marked advocacy document, which I intend to send to the Secretary General's office as well, to share with him some of the ideas which are actually emanating from the membership here, which is perhaps the most important membership that we have here. In fact, I think I can tell you this, as the UN Resident Coordinator, having served for the United Nations for the past 25 years, the level of intellectual capital and brilliance that the ambassadors of member states bring in China is quite remarkable. In fact, I would term it as the best in class. And I think this knowledge needs to go back. And what can we do now further this as we approach the Summit of the Future in September 2024 at the UN General Assembly? So therefore, I have a proposal here, which I've already written to Foreign Minister Wang Yi as well as to Vice Minister Ma, is what can we do as the membership here in China, together with our host country, China, together with an organization like CCG, to perhaps even think of a pre-summit to the summit of the future and perhaps provide some inputs to the preparations of that summit. And I think that would be extremely important for the simple reason. What the Secretary General is trying to do in September is really trying to rescue multilateralism more than anything else. And what is it that we could give him in terms of ideas, in terms of knowledge, in terms of best practices, in terms of political advocacy in order to make that opportunity a success? So I would conclude by saying that it is an honor for me here as the UN Resident Coordinator to China, not only to be present here, but to be part of a group of ambassadors who are true visionaries. Thank you very much.